So, hello everybody. As you can see from my little window, it's our evening class, but it feels like afternoon. So, I'm a little more energized. Whereas, like in the winter, this is very much like a wind down. I was watching old videos and I'm like in a sweater, like clutching a mug of cocoa. And I was like, Catherine, the drama of it all, really. But yeah, so now there's like some daylight. So, I don't have a car, so you can come on over and we'll we'll take a walk or something. All right, so today's flow is called Lower Back Love. So basically, we're going to stretch and strengthen the lower back. And some of these poses can be used if you have some lower back pain or tightness. I encourage you to sit in the pose that you really feel that stretch. If you feel a certain release, to just kind of bask in it for a minute. And if I'm moving on and you really like how you're feeling, just stay where you are, and really give your body time to open and loosen up, because the back is a delicate but super important part of our bodies. So treating it with kindness is always a good place to start. So we're going to come onto our mat. So it's nice if you do have your block handy. I like to sit on a block. Just kind of gives you that lift, almost like an extension of your spine, giving you a little bit more extension, and you can kind of feel your sits bones really in the firm surface of the block. But take it wherever you like and begin to find your alignment. So head over heart over pelvis. Alternatively, ears, shoulders, hips. Of course, it's not all in a straight line, but they are kind of in the same axis. They're in the same plane. So maybe roll the shoulders back a little bit. Begin to deepen that breath. And as you're rolling the shoulders back, really feeling the shoulder blades coming together and separating, almost like a cat-cow of just the shoulders and shoulder blades, that coming together and pressing away very deliberately. Wonderful. And begin to find stillness. Hands can be resting on your legs. Gaze lowers or eyes closed. Just begin to drop into your breath. Inhale deeply. Exhale completely. Excellent. And every inhale, you feel that uplifting energy up through the spine, up out through the crown of the head. And on the exhale, that's the relax. Maybe you can even relax the diaphragm completely. It's nice, you have that break. The diaphragm is relaxed. It's just a little breather. If there's any sensation that you're experiencing right now that's pleasant, take a minute to identify that. Something small, like the sun coming in through the window, just casting kind of a nice light on things. Or maybe just a feeling of warmth or calmness in some part of your body, or a sound that's kind of like white noise and soothing. Just take a beat and let it be there, something that's kind of nice in your experience. Take one more deep breath in, noting that maybe not so bad experience, that pleasant sensation. Maybe it is simply that relaxed diaphragm on the exhale. Then we begin to open our eyes, blink them, gaze around, new perspective. And if you're sitting on a block, you can remove it. We're going to come onto our backs and hug our knees in nice and gently. If you want to take one at a time to start, that's pretty nice. Just easing into the movement, so you can really feel moment by moment what's going on. Eventually, when you're ready, you can lift the other leg, and that already activates the lower back. And by hugging them in, you can take a gentle rock side to side if you like. Hugging them in really presses the lower back into the ground. Good, so your back is sort of a reverse dome shape, like the letter U on the ground. You can bring little circles in with your legs and your knees in one direction. Take a couple of breaths. And then just reverse the direction if you're going in these little circles. And all of these little movement options bring your awareness to the lower back. Perhaps you feel that the pressing of the lower back against the ground, almost like a massage. Wonderful. And from here, we're just going to let our knees gently drop to one side. And they don't have to be super tucked in. You can just kind of relax them where they are. Just taking a gentle twist to start us off today. Reclaim that rhythmic breathing. Calm and steady and loyal breath. And then when you're ready, you can pick up the knees and drop them gently over to the other side. Letting the twist be a rinsing out, creating a blank slate for your practice tonight. And from here, you're going to leave your knees where they are. We're just going to let our bodies follow, coming into this little fetal position. And continue to press yourself up until you come to your hands and knees. Wrists underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips, and we're going to move through a couple rounds of cat-cow. To really, really work through the muscles in the back and really tapping into the breath as we do so. You might find the breath drops in a little clearer, a little more fully after we have stretched a little bit and created space. So to begin, inhale, let the belly drop, gaze lifts. Exhale, push it all the way as we dome through the spine, gaze towards belly button. Inhale, belly drop, shoulder blades come together, gaze lift. Exhale, rounding the lower spine, then mid spine, upper spine, cat. And now yogi's variation, so take whatever you like. By now, many of you have developed an ear for what your body needs to warm up. So keeping your foundation solid, palms on the ground, legs, shins on the ground. Begin to bring all other movement in. Maybe drop the hips from side to side, gazing over one shoulder and the other. Maybe you want to tuck your toes and bring the hips back, almost like you're going into a child's pose. And perhaps maybe you want to warm up the wrists a little bit, or you want to give them a little stretch, in which case you can play around with placement of the fingers, orientation of the fingertips. Fingertips to the sides, fingertips towards your knees, and then the smallest little movements to feel into the sensations that are created in doing so. Take 2 more cycles of breath to just authentically move in a way that no one else is, just in your own world, paying special attention to the movement of the spine and the shapes that your back creates. At the bottom of that final exhale, come on back to stillness. Find almost like a halfway lift in your tabletop. So be mindful of where your head is and see if you can let the neck be an extension of the spine, crown of the head pressing towards the front of the room, and then feel the tailbone pressing back, belly button pulling in. This is nice long spine. We're going to inhale from here, lifting the left foot in the air. Exhale, lifting opposite hand, right hand up. I'm gonna back it up here. Good, take a deep breath. Exhale to hold, feel that belly button still pressing in. One more breath in. Exhale, bending the knee, bending the elbow, bring them closer together. Maybe they touch, maybe they don't. And then inhale, press out. Two more. Exhale, crunch it in. Inhale, push it away. Final one. Exhale, compress, pull it in. And exhale, inhale out. Exhale, lower down to hands and knees. Walk the the finger palm, walk your palms a little bit ahead and just bring in little hip circles. I like to tuck my toes to do this just to protect my knees. You're just kind of bringing in almost like an upward dog motion, but we're not quite dropping into that upward dog. You're just gently kissing the position. So switch circles, switch sides if you were going one way and the other. Good, hips come side and around and back. Wonderful. And then bring those palms back in, untuck those toes. Deep breath in your tabletop. Lengthen the neck. Exhale, hold. Inhale, out, lifting right leg off the ground. You can point or flex the foot. Lifting left hand. Deep breath in. Exhale, pull knee towards elbow. Inhale, push it away. Exhale, pulling it in. Using the breath as a tool. Inhale, press away. Exhale, pulling in. Final extension here. Push it away. Feel length both through the fingertips and the toes. And on an exhale, lower it down. Open those knees as wide as your mat or as is comfortable. Send the hips back. Child's pose. One breath in child's pose. And we're going to inhale. Come on back to your tabletop. Bring those knees under your hips. And we're going to come into a different version of child's pose. And this one's really restorative for the lower back. So we're in our tabletop. You're going to send the hips back as usual. Round the head, so tucking the chin in. So you're creating like a little turtle shell. And your arms are going to reach back for your heels. And just let the crown of your head melt into the ground. Let the elbows drop down. And by tucking the chin, we're kind of creating a little bit of a longer spine. There's like a little bit more space between the vertebrae in the tucking of the chin, getting length. And then you just relax into it. So take a couple of breaths here. Feel into this kind of protective shell that you've created. Wonderful. And when you're ready, bringing your hands towards your knees, use your arms to press your body up. So no tension really in the back. I'm going to take off, I'm going to shed my socks. From here, we're going to come into a slightly wide-legged forward fold. So we're going to come into our tabletop position, tuck our toes. So your toes are about hips-width distance apart. And you're going to begin to send the hips up like you're going into downward-facing dog. Keep a bend in the knees and just walk the hands towards the feet. When you're here, you can kind of toe heel your feet to the outer edges of your mat and just recline. Good. Hands out in front on a block, which is nice. Having a bend in the knees, especially to start. And then gazes a little bit towards the belly button again, which kind of pulls the chin closer to the chest, stretching out that cervical spine. Take an inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Nice and slow. If we can slow it down even more, excellent. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. And find a flow here with your halfway lift on an inhale. And then an exhale, fluidly folding down. Two more. And then we're gonna bend our knees nice and deeply, feeling strong in the hands wherever they are. We're gonna roll up one vertebrae at a time. Be mindful of the knees not knocking towards each other. Roll back the shoulders when you arrive. Feel a gentle tucking of the tailbone. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands to prayer in front of your heart. Wonderful. We're going to do the same thing every single time now. Every single time Alexa's like speaking back at me. I don't know what's going on. So now our hands are going to be at our hips, and we're going to go again. You're going to begin to forward fold, keeping your hands at your hips. And this time we're going to take 5 full breaths in your forward fold with your wide legs. You can always have a bend in the knees, which is supportive for the hamstrings. And again, gaze maybe towards your knees or your belly button to really stretch the back of the neck. 5 slow breaths. Letting the spine be round here. The bottom of your last exhale, same thing as before. Just bend those knees deeply. Begin to tuck that lower tail, the tailbone in as you roll on up, rolling back the shoulders. And at the top, take that refreshing inhale, full stand. And exhale, hands to heart. Wonderful. From here, I'm just going to jump my feet back together. And I'm going to extend my left foot in front. And I'm going to turn my right foot out at a slight 45-degree angle. And here, you have the option to just hold your hands behind your back. You can also reach for opposite elbows. If you want to go further and make a little prayer in the back, go for it, but make sure that your arms are high up on that back, otherwise you can hurt your wrist a little bit. So you're in kind of a narrow stance of the feet, left leg pointing out, right leg 45-degree angle. Find whatever back hold you like. Inhale, that heart lifts. Exhale, begin to fold towards that left knee, keeping a micro bend in the left knee as well. Your back can be round. You don't have to keep it straight. Rounding down. 3 to 5 full breaths in our pyramid. Allow yourself to get deeper with the pause. We're spending some time with these positions today, which really lets you get deeper into your practice. And when you're ready, begin to roll back up, nice and steady. Deep breath at the top. And you're just going to pivot your feet to the other side of the mat. So now right toes are pointing to the back of the mat. Left toes are on a 45-degree angle to the upper left corner, squaring those hips. Gentle micro bend in the front knee. Inhale up. Exhale, bow. Then you might notice a difference on each side. Depending on how tight you are, if you have an injury. Often if we have an injury, we compensate in our bodies without even being aware of it. So if you have an injury, let's say on the right side, your left side might be more tight because it's actually doing a bit more work so that you don't further injure yourself. So all of this is just information about how our body is doing today. Take a couple more deep breaths. Allow yourself on that inhale to fill with air. And the exhale, as you release the air, your body can sink a little lower, or perhaps you can go a little deeper in your practice. Inhale to create space, and exhale to melt into it. One more breath. We're going to bend our knees and come on up to standing, nice and steady. Inhale at the top. Exhale, just send the back foot to meet the front. We're just gonna flow to get down to the mat. So you can take an inhale, reach those arms up, gaze and heart lifts. And then exhale, little raindrops of your fingers, they trickle down. And we're still moving slowly with bent knees. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, send those palms down, step one foot back, and then the other, and optional chaturanga. You can have your knees straight, you can have your knees on the mat. And you're just gonna move through a cobra or upward dog and come back into that child's pose where your hands reach back towards your heels. You're nice, soft, and round right here. Take a couple of breaths. And just land here for a second. We're going to bring our hands towards our knees, under our shoulders, and press on up. And we're going to walk those hands forward until you can drop the pelvis down. And we're going to come into a Sphinx pose. So for this, your elbows are underneath your shoulders, palms against the floor. Inhale to send the heart forward, shoulder blades back. You might already feel that lift in the kind of the back of the neck. Your head almost follows that energy out and up. A couple of breaths here. Really allow the space around your lower back, lower belly to be relaxed. Try not to hold this position in the back, but use the forearms, the strong shoulders to support you. Relax your belly. If you're sucking in, just automatically. One more deep breath here. And then exhale, we're gonna just lower down onto the mat and roll over onto your back. However you get there is excellent. This is where a block is excellent. We're gonna come into supported bridge, but you can support the bridge with your hands too. So, or you can just do an unsupported bridge if that's in your practice. But supported bridge feels so nice on the back. I think it feels great because it kind of presses in to those spots that we were rolling around on before. So we are gonna bring our heels a little closer to our booties. On an exhale, press that lower back into the ground so there's no space back here. Inhale, feel the heels and big toe mounts pressing into the floor, well, the whole foot really, soles of the feet, as your hips lift. From here, you take the block, and on whatever setting, whatever level you like, you slide it right above that tailbone, and you play around until you find that sweet spot. So some people like it really high in the little narrow point. Some people like it a little more flat, the full surface area. So you take a second, if you have a block, play around. If not, you can use, again, your forearms, bring those elbows closer to each other and catch your hips in your palms. Wherever you are, take a deep breath in. Exhale to hold. If you're supported by a block or a bolster, on the exhale, send a message of relaxation to the lower back. So you inhale to feel strong and active, and then exhale, tell the lower back to release. You are being held up. It doesn't need to work right now. One more breath here. And then exhale, squeeze the glutes, press the soles of the feet together so your hips lift off your support. Remove the bolster or the block and carefully lower down. Excellent job. Here, you're going to hug those knees in and gently rock side to side. And now we're going to rock forward and back, a little rock and roll. This takes a little bit of momentum. And for some, it's nice when you roll down on the left side of the spine and roll back up on the right. So you're kind of not getting the spine directly on the ground. That's nice if the floor is really hard. You kind of pick a side of your spine to roll down and up on. Eventually we come to a seated position. We're going to come into our half lotus twist. What? What is that? So we've done this a billion times. So you're going to plant the, you're going to let the outer shin of the left leg fall to the ground. Pick up the right foot, plant the sole on the outside of that left leg. So right leg, knee is up, left leg, knee is down. You're going to inhale, left arm long and tall. Exhale, twisting to the right, taking whatever arms that you like, just sending that heart to the right side. Maybe your gaze follows suit. Your gaze is over the right shoulder. The twist starts at the lower belly, the lower back. A couple of deep breaths. Inhale, you lift up, create space. Exhale, you melt, you twist more into the space you created with your breath. Inhale, lift, exhale, twist. One more breath cycle here. And at the bottom of the exhale, you just carefully release. No tension, nothing forced. Don't brace against anything. We're just gonna shake out the legs and do the same thing on the other side. So right leg now is on the ground, heel is towards the crotch, and the left foot is going to step over the leg. Left knee up, right knee down. Inhale, right hand up. Exhale, twisting first from the lower spine, creating a little space for your arm to go. And then using the pressure, arm against leg, leg against arm, twist to the left. Feeling uplifted, almost like you're growing taller on the inhale. Then the exhale, you move, you ooze into your twist. You're not forcing the twist, you ooze the twist. It's just a melting, a relaxation into the twist. Try this for a couple of breaths. Almost like you're gliding in and out. With the inhale and exhale. At the bottom of your next exhale, just carefully release the twist. Take any little movements that you like. All right, my friends, coming into one of my absolute favorites. This is really nice for the lower back. And it's a nice stretch. You're really gonna really create length in the spine. We're gonna come into a shoulder hold, a shoulder stand into plow. So make sure you have room behind you to play around. And all I ask is that once your legs are in the air, try not to look right or left. So I will do my best to dictate clearly so you don't have to look at the camera. You're gonna roll onto your back. And I like to take a little momentum. I like to lift my heels in the air and bring the knees closer to my face so my hips lift. And eventually, my hips lift so much, I can catch underneath with my hands and extend the soles of my feet towards the ceiling. Maybe you can bring the elbows in a little closer to each other, squeezing the glutes, creating strength in the legs. Now that the legs aren't supporting you, you can really play with activating the muscles, really seeing what's here. So squeezing the glutes, squeezing the thighs, flexing the feet to really activate the calves. Take a deep breath here. And then on the exhale, you're going to let those toes travel, travel, travel through space beyond your head. So you're bringing the toes over your head. And then maybe you hold wherever you feel any sensation. Some of you may wish to take the toes all the way to the floor behind you, letting those hips lift even more. If your toes are on the ground beyond your head, you can clasp your hands behind your back and extend them along the mat. Take a couple of deep breaths. This is a nice full range of your spine. You're really stretching here. Some like to now bend their knees and use their knees as earmuffs and like literally use your knees against your ears. This is also like a plow and
variation. Otherwise, you can keep your legs straight. Take one more breath. Then exhale very carefully. Release your hands and let those knees bend as you roll the spine down to the floor, releasing the shoulder stance. Take a breather. Well done. If that's not yet in your practice, it will come. It will all come. And from here, we're going to close with a twist, maybe a slightly more active twist than we began with, because now we have some warmth. We've generated some flexibility in our spines. So the soles of your feet are on the ground. We're going to hug the knees in. Just as before, we're going to open our arms wide, let the knees drop to the right side. And this is where we can choose to level up the intensity if you'd like. You can take the right heel, the leg that's underneath, and cross it over the top leg if you want. That definitely creates more sensation. That might not be a desirable sensation. So then just leave the leg alone. Find what works for you. Deep breath here. Same thing, melt on the exhale, especially the lower back. Can you release tension from the lower back? Then untangle the legs if you did a little crossover. Bring the knees back up, hug them in. And let them drop to the left side. This might be perfectly good for you if you want more. Pick up the bottom leg and gently place it on top of the top leg. This is our final twist of practice. Twists are really restorative for the back. If you're doing a lot of back bends for any reason in your practice, in your life, doing a twist before a lot of forward folds is a good idea. You don't necessarily want to go from one extreme to the other with your back, like a lot of forward folds and then a lot of back bends. You don't want to, you're not like a jack in the box, just swinging back and forth, back and forth. Take in your yoga practice, in whatever active practice in your life, when you are stretching, consider a twist between different back stretches. Just kind of resets everything, kind of recalibrates the body. And mentally, it's nice to sort of wring everything out, just using the body to manifest a shedding of excess. Uncross the legs, bring those knees up. And here I like to just do a little windshield wipering. We work the lower back a lot. You might be feeling sensations there. So take whatever movement you need. If there is something that we haven't done that you just would love to finish practice with, a happy baby, a headstand, whatever you want to do, feel free to take that now. You have a minute or so to just take what you want. And just as we began, we close practice by listening to our bodies. If we want to do something, we want to try something, we want to work through another posture again, this is your chance to try that out. If not, if you're all good, you can begin to find a comfortable Shavasana. I love a heart bench with a couple blocks. But if you only have one, you can always place a block under the lower back and just let the heart kind of open over it. Same thing with a pillow or a bolster. And you can really ride the block up the back until you find a place that's comfortable. Your body will tell you when it's not comfortable. So just be gentle. Again, you can find these heart openers with a block or a pillow easily. Take a couple seconds, figure out where you want to settle, where you want to land for this rest. I have another block, so I'm going to place one in between my shoulder blades and one under my head, and just let the shoulders open into a modified heart bench. Take a deep breath here. On the exhale, allow your eyes to close. Let tension leave your body. You no longer have to be aware of the breath because you trust it. Breath, your old friend, it's going to be there. You can let your mind relax. You can let your attention relax. And just sort of drift on this momentum that we created over the last 30 minutes. Revisiting the idea of the paradox of wanting stillness and wanting moments of quiet. And then when they come, how do we practice being present in them? How do we practice dropping into them instead of bypassing them with our thoughts, with our feelings, and then feeling that we missed out? Continue to breathe naturally, knowing that by welcoming the thoughts and the feelings and knowing that they are wholly part of our experience, we become present. We become present and available to them. And just letting those simple, pleasurable sensations land a little bit more in our day-to-day practice to balance out some of the tension and some of the anxiety and some of the thoughts that run away and get us worked up. We can feel the sun on our face and just like take a beat. If there's a song or sound that is pleasurable to hear, even just mildly so, just under the surface, kind of calming, let it just resonate for a second. And in doing so, we create some balance with the frenzy. Let's have a moment just in stillness and in quiet together. Let's take an inhale all together. Exhale, this community breath, as well as exhaling the last bit of tension from the lower back. Can we melt into it even in these final seconds? And then begin to bring any movement back into your body. That helps you feel more present and awake. You have the option to roll over onto one side, just being mindful if you're on a support or a bolster. Or you're welcome to stay exactly as you are. When you are ready, carefully coming up into our easy seat. Letting your eyes close once more. Bringing your left hand to your heart, right fingertips to the ground. And again, in tribute to my teacher from Homegrown, Jamie. You're going to take a deep breath in. And on the exhale, send gratitude towards the earth that supports us, supports our physical practice, and the environment that supports our life. Bring the right hand over the left hand. Take a deep breath in. And then exhale, send that same gratitude to yourself. Gently bring your hands to heart center. Inhale, thumbs to forehead. Exhale, gently bow forward. You can open your eyes. Here, I want to thank you for your life, for your practice, and for this community. And our Saturday class is canceled. Any other updates? We added a new class to the schedule, movement meditation led by a Poetico dance collective member, Olivia, and it is like top notch. Olivia's like a master at it's like yoga, but a little less pose oriented. And you don't have to be a dancer or a yogi. It's just a really wonderful space that she creates. So thank you so much. Namaste. I hope to see you all next Thursday when we reconvene, or on Tuesday. Tuesday is when Olivia's class is. So hopefully I'll see you Tuesday at that, and then next Thursday for our yoga practice. Have a good night, everybody. Enjoy the remnants of sun that remain, and take care.